Every spring, millions of us get the exact same impulse. This is the year I'm finally going to grow my own food. So we drive straight to the hardware store and start filling our carts with plastic pots, shiny new trowels, and heavy bags of synthetic fertilizer. The typical first move is buying a single, delicate tomato seedling, sticking it in an isolated pot on the patio, and relying on bright blue chemical plant food to force it to grow. 2 months later, that same plant is shriveled, the soil is a dusty brick, and the surrounding yard is choked with weeds. Most people look at that wilted stem and conclude they aren't born with a green thumb. But the failure isn't about talent. Traditional gardening advice tells beginners they have to conquer the earth before they can plant in it, which means spending hours breaking ground and pushing a heavy metal tiller through packed dirt. We end up performing the physical labor that nature usually handles. Pioneers like Ruth Stout championed a different approach, the lazy garden. Instead of fighting the soil by digging down, you build a layered system from the ground up that handles the heavy lifting for you. A successful harvest is a test of system design, not a test of your work ethic. If you're working up a sweat to keep things alive, the garden is engineered poorly. The starting point for this engineered setup is an ordinary, weed-filled patch of lawn grass. Looking at this cross-section of soil, you can see the core flaw of the traditional method. When you run tilling blades through the dirt, you destroy the established soil structure. That churning action drags dormant weed seeds from the dark depths to the sunny surface, where they immediately sprout. The $0 no-till alternative is laying wet cardboard directly over the grass. This instantly smothers weeds and blocks sunlight, trapping seeds underground permanently. Because you aren't digging down into the earth, you build your growing space vertically. This is lasagna gardening, stacking organic materials to create entirely new soil on top of the lawn. The base is a 5-inch layer of browns, wet newspaper, dry leaves, and peat moss, providing a light, oxygen-rich structure. You alternate that base with 3-inch layers of greens. Nitrogen-rich materials like manure and mushroom compost provide the dense moisture the system needs. As these alternating layers break down together, they form a massive organic sponge. This allows the bed to capture and hold onto significant amounts of rainwater, keeping the roots hydrated far longer than a traditional plot. By simply stacking cardboard and organic matter, you've engineered a moisture-retaining, weed-proof foundation that eliminates the need for constant tilling and daily watering. This setup solves the problem with those isolated patio pots. A tiny container has zero natural insulation. Summer heat bakes the sides and evaporates water instantly, keeping the plant's roots in a state of constant stress. To maximize the efficiency of your new soil, you can organize the space into a square-foot grid. This layout turns the chaos of a garden bed into a highly efficient production system. Within that grid, you plant living mulch, seeds sown so densely that their mature leaves physically shade the soil. This locks in moisture and leaves zero bare dirt for weeds to colonize. With the environment built, the final step is plant selection. The most common mistake for beginners is starting with tomatoes. Tomatoes are a trap. They require extensive structural support, take months to produce fruit, and are highly vulnerable to pests. They demand constant human intervention to survive. Instead, focus on foolproof alternatives, like fast-growing radishes, structural bush beans, and fall-planted garlic. Combining dense grid spacing with these resilient crops creates a localized microclimate. The plants protect each other, removing the need for human babysitting. This is the complete engineered blueprint: a light-blocking cardboard base, a sponge-like compost layer, a dense grid layout, and a canopy of hardy companion plants. These horizontal and vertical layers have successfully engineered out the need to dig, weed, or apply synthetic chemicals to the soil. Keeping this system thriving is as simple as tying it to an existing habit, a rule known as "don't go inside yet." You head to the garden for 5 minutes when you get home from a walk, or pull the car into the driveway. Because the physical system handles the water retention and weed suppression, your only job is a brief daily walkthrough to admire the growth and harvest the produce. By shifting from working the land to stacking a system, you create a sustainable, self-managing ecosystem. The hours of hard labor are gone, replaced by a few minutes of harvest each day.